Hey, what's up, card fighters? Archangel 7 back with episode 3, part 2. This is the strategy guide, and as usual, I have the key cards laid out here. It's not a whole lot of key cards in this deck. Of course, the riot chain being the main part of the deck, and then just a couple other units. So let's talk about how to run this deck. What are some of the things that I like to do with it, and what makes it run effectively. So of course, you'd want to have the ride chain go off. The reason being is, for one, when you ride over, let's say when you ride over your lower self, you for one, you're stronger. You're 8k instead of typical 7 or sometimes even 6 that others might run. So you're a little bit stronger early on. He's 8k and he'll be 10, so that helps in that area. And also, you want to get his free skill off to superior call a Sanctuary of Light unit. That's pretty essential for pressure early on. It's also essential for just setting up the field, because you want to be able to set up the field as early as possible. So if you can get him in the right chain, I usually will call one, this little guy right behind him. Definitely take advantage of superior calling grade 1s over 2s, because other cards in the deck can call 2s pretty easily. Not a lot of things can call grade 1s. So take advantage, get the back row set up first. That way, also, you don't have to spend hand trying to defend one of your attackers. Because if you pull, let's say, another one of him to rear, you kind of want him to be alive later for his skills. So calling another one here is kind of risky, because he can get attacked and you're going to be dishing out guard trying to protect him. So I usually just call him right back here, and this swings in for 17 right off the back, so that's sweet. And when you get up to riding your grade 3, you do not have to go with the finisher of the ride chain. You could go with any one of our grade 3s. I would highly recommend you go with him because he's more set up. So once you ride him, you can counterblast 2, and generally you can call another one of him here would be the best choice, because you want to set the field up. You don't pressure as much early on. You're more or less setting up field. So when he rides and I counterblast a 2, I usually set one more back here. And it's all is definitely looking at the situation at hand, but generally doing this is perfect. Sometimes you might find that you can do something like that, or even call a copy of himself to rear. So it's all dependent on the situation, but this is the safest option here, is to set this back row up like that. So that's why the ride chain is important. Is the ride chain is going to set up field for your mid-game pressure. So our next key card is going to be Sanctuary Guard Dragon. And the reason he's good is because of his own ride skill. When he rides, when he's placed on the Vanguard circle, you may pay the cost, which is to discard a Royal Paladin from your hand. And if you do, you can superior call a grade 1 or less Royal Paladin to the field from your deck. So the reason that is good is because you play him, you discard a card, and you can get this guy, who is another one of the key cards. He is a limit break enabler. That's fantastic because his limit break skill is going to be active. He's going to get 3,000 for each grade 1 or less unit. Even if you had him on the field and you played him, his limit break is active as well. But let's say we rolled him instead of our other grade 3, and we call this, he gets his skill. Hopefully you had the ride chain up to grade 2 done. So if your grade 2 ride chain went off, you'd also have that in the back as well. So essentially this is going to boost him up to 6,000. So he's going to be 17 alone plus the 7 rear. You know, he's going to swing for 24. Granted, this is no Legion, this is no Stride. This is just a unit that does not care if you're grade 2, grade 1, or grade 3. He's going to swing for 24, which is awesome right there. So that, some other times you might have another grade 1 here. So, you know, he's going to go up by 9k instead. So he's very good for just kind of like that big swing, you know, early on. It's an attack that you wouldn't really expect that early in the game, because you're looking like, oh, you know, I'm not a grade 3, you can't Legion. I'm not a grade 3, you can't Stride. Well, you know, Sanctuary Guard Dragon doesn't really care. He's still going to hit you for pretty big numbers. So that is why he's good in the deck, is for that alone. Ride him, call this, and get his skill off and hit for some pretty big numbers. And our next key card is Blue Sky Knight Altmile. The reason he's a key card is because he is the, I'll say, next best ride if you ever break the ride chain. So at the start, you don't have your Little Storm. You have to ride him, unfortunately. What I usually do is I just call this straight back. And after that, you're just gonna play the deck more or less normally. Okay, you ride whatever 2 you want, whether it's Blaster Blade or the Knight of Fragments. You just play the deck how you want, but the part that matters is getting him onto the Vanguard Circle as your grade 3. And because you don't want him, because he's only 10k body, yeah, so you don't want that. So ride chain ever breaks, he is no longer your main Vanguard. It is now Altmile, and the reason being is because you want to Stride to get to his Generation Break 2 skill, which when he's at Generation Break 2, all your units in the front row get 5,000 power. So that's how we create pressure with this deck. So, which leads me to our other key card, which is Saint Blow Dragon. Saint Blow Dragon's a key card for, I want to say, about 2 reasons. Reason 1, he's extremely strong. He gets 3,000, you flip a copy of him face up in the G zone, he gets 3,000 power for each unit you have on the Vanguard, on the field. And each rear guard, he gets 3,000 for them. And then if you have 2 or more G units face up in your G zone, he gets an extra crit. So he's powerful right there, but he is the key to unlocking his Generation Break 2 skill early. So instead of riding the Blade from the deck, you will actually first ride, you're going to ride Saint Blow Dragon, and then you're going to take a copy of him and turn it face up in the G zone. So as your turn ends, you actually have 2 units face up in the G zone. So your opponent takes his turn, you do it, he does whatever he does, you guard, it's your turn. Your Generation Break 2 is active, meaning if I play him, he's now 14. If I play him, he's now 12. If I play him, he's 16. So that's a lot of pressure, especially with being able to have a pretty decent field setup. That makes it a lot of pressure. You're hitting for some very high numbers. You have 14 and 7 is 21. Okay, 16, 7, 23. These are just from rear columns. So Alt Mile makes it to where even if you miss the ride chain, you're gonna go for pretty much just pressure, beat down. He's also good with the Knight of Fragment and Knight of Twin Sword combo, because if you attack with him boosted, it's 21, and when you activate a skill, say you already attacked with these guys for their 21, when you activate a skill and call him, he's still well, he's 11 from his skill, but then plus the 5 here, you know, so he's 16 alone. So just hit for good numbers there. So that's pretty much how to play this deck, guys. Is run the ride chain as best you can to set up field early. I think, where's the other guy? Because you want to set up the field early. Okay, so ride, call. If you do pull off the ride chain, you ride him, or even if you don't get the ride chain, but you have to ride him because he's all you have, still you can activate his on ride skill and call another one here. You can still start your field setup. So that's pretty much it. Set up your fields. It's best to have Sanctuary Lights on the rears, and then try to get, if you're not at 4 damage, if you manage to get him with the Planetary Dragon, that's awesome. If not, you want all Sanctuary Light fill and use his skill, which is Limit Break 4. When he attacks, all of your Sanctuary Light units get 3,000 power. That's how they get so strong. So that's very good. And so pretty much their skills are very similar. His GB2, his Limit Break 4, except for his is for front row units, any front row units, and his is for Sanctuary Light units. So it kind of pans out. That's why I feel they kind of complement each other. It's because if you ride him and you have your Sanctuary Light field set up, you know you're going to be getting 6 per column. If not, you have to go with the alternative. You're going to get 5 per column, which is not a huge trade-off. So yeah, that is the deck. Like I said, it's very consistent. Yeah, one quick tech too. So one awesome thing you can do if there's any changes to the deck you want to make, having grade 2s with on ride skills is pretty good, because a combo I actually did when I was playtesting this against an Nova Grappler deck. So I had my grade 1 here. I was able to search out the grade 3. I didn't get the 2 on the initial search, so I rolled a Blaster Blade, which I had 2 damage, so I counterblasted 2, destroyed his starter, which was Rumble, and from Little Storm skill, I got to search the top 7 for the grade 2. I actually found the grade 2 with the second search, was able to ride him and still do field setup. So that was like extreme right there. I was psyched to see that. I'm like, wow, I got the retire unit, still got to set up field, complete the ride chain. So yeah, so really awesome. Is there anything else? That's pretty much it. Get your ride chain off. If you can't, ride this guy. But all our grade 3s are fantastic. All of them do some pretty amazing things. I mean, he's going to superior call. He's going to superior call. And he's just a powerhouse for our units. So that is the deck, guys. Tell me what you think. I probably will be making some changes to it. Probably switching some of the stands for critical triggers. Because I do run 6 stand, 3 crit, 3 draw, 4 hill. Which I'm not liking a whole lot, so I'll probably do more like 4 stand, more crit than draw, something like that going on. So, but yeah, that is the strategy part for the deck, guys. Hope you guys try to build it and play it. It's really fun. If you like Royal Paladins, it gets no more Royal Paladin than this. I mean, you have You have power-ups for units. You have superior calling. I mean, it gets no more of a paladin, I tell you. So, but yeah, guys, thanks for watching. You know, stay improving, stay leveling up your deck, okay?